Anyway, the whole place suddenly erupts in this huge fight, bottles flying, guys slamming each other into tables.
Okay.
So I spot this beverage cart with a tablecloth over it. It turned out it was a great hiding place for about 5 minutes until I started to feel someone wheeling me down the hall. I'm like, where are they taking me? So
It's like majoring in undecided. Start with your centermass, people. Take your pitch and swing. It's like a sentence without a verb, or serving a sweet and sour peasant soup without an entree. It is a stew. It's a stew.
next contestant, enter a man carrying a bongo and 12 honking geese who is immediately banned from the building. No.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.
We survived another year at MDF.
Yes, we did. We did. Let's talk about it.
Even though it literally rained every day.
Mhm.
It never poured except for maybe one or two times, but I think we either ducked into the parking garage or that little bar.
Yeah.
We had an absolutely fabulous time. Got to catch up with Richard Thompson and Mike Giuliano.
That's right, we did.
Made some new friends in the parking garage. We always seem to.
I don't remember them. Lair of the Minotaur, Thursday night. Yeah, they were crushingly heavy. They played slow. They played some of the speedy stuff. We got to say hi to Steve.
Yeah.
As he was rapidly signing 700 pieces of merch. And poor guy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting their bass player kept facing the big amp. I have no idea why, but really interesting.
That was great. We got to see Solitude Aeternus with Jason McMaster singing.
Yep.
And no, he did not do any Dangerous Toys covers. Skimmity bomb, skimmity bomb, skimmity bomb. No, he didn't do it. He didn't do it. But they were great. I mean, Solitude A. What are you gonna do? You know, fucking amazing. And then, of course, the highlight of Thursday was Wake. I mean, they were a force to be reckoned with on stage.
Like some kind of summoning was going on the stage.
It was like, it reminded me of like a Neurosis show where it's so heavy and so captivating. And it's like, and you don't even notice the breaks between the songs. And check this picture out. Turns out we had some parking lot friends. So anyway, moving on to Saturday. God, Warbringer. They were like Exodus 1985.
They were great. I had never
great.
seen them in live.
Unbelievable.
Since they're out of California.
Old school thrash doesn't get any better than that. You know?
Yeah, the lead singer had a lot of personality.
Sure did. He smiled a lot, which is a no-no, but he did it anyway. So, yeah, Warbringer thrashed it up. And then from the garage, we got to see Whiplash. And it's the one main Tony that's in the band.
Yes.
But I went crazy every time they played something from Power and Pain. And they did play The Burning of Atlanta, which is not The Burning of Atlantis. Duh. Come on, people.
Alan.
So, yeah, Alan.
April.
Then Pig Destroyer, right? They were awesome. And I don't know why. I was like, maybe it was just the alcohol or whatever, but I was like, wow, there's a lot of intros in this set. I didn't realize they were playing Prowler in the yard in its entirety. I didn't even notice that till later. I was like looking at the poster. I'm like, oh, that's why there were all those intros. Duh. And then Macabre. Macabre's been around for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of serial killer stories.
Yeah. They really brought the fire to the little stage.
They accepted our collaboration and then unaccepted it.
I don't know.
I wonder if one of them was like, good God, man, what are you doing? And then finally Sunday, started with Grave from Sweden, one of my favorite, Swedish death metal bands. They sounded great. I didn't realize they were a three-piece now.
Yeah, they really brought it.
But there's still tons of leads, and they played a lot of the old stuff. It was great. Sarcophago. Yeah.
Excellent.
Sarcophago. Brutality from Brazil. We had a great time. I'll try to weave in some of the, we made a few little short videos, but we need to learn to make videos when the bands are not playing. Because trying to record and shout over it just doesn't sound very good.
Now we're recording.
Mark and Stace reporting days 2, 3, 3 of 9.
Three.
Yeah, right, true.
Yeah, we're a little windblown, a little wet.
Not for doing alcohol.
We took a break in the parking garage.
We just saw, who was it?
Warbringer.
Warbringer.
Okay,
They destroyed the place.
they brought it.
2 guitars, both playing leads. It's fucking great. Every song about war. I loved it.
Whiplash is up next.
Wait a minute. I'm going to show you Stace's funny hat.
Just keep the rain off. It was a fun hat.
See, I can be goofy, MDF. Anyway, back to the show.
Hey, darlings, we're here at Maryland Deathfest. This is their sarcophagus. They're putting it down and taking names and possibly bananas.
It's the last of the last. It's been fantastic. Maintain the battle for. Yes.
And yes, we have another show Tuesday night, so stay tuned.
Right.
You never know what's going to happen. I think it's going to be Final Gas or Blood Vulture, and I cannot wait. And I'm going to get Blood Vulture on this fucking show.
Anyway, and then I don't like violence at all. Well, I mean, I like violence, but the band Violence, I don't really like it because his singer sounds like he's falling off a cliff. But he didn't do that this time. So actually, I really enjoyed the set. And then, of course, Blood Red Throne, they were also excellent. So
Oh, that
what a great year of MDF. And we have tons and tons of live streams on our Instagram page. So get over there and check it out.
I have tons of work. I was so entranced. I just kept hitting record.
It was, yeah, they were the best of everyone, I think. And then we bumped into them later. So how
That
great was
was
that?
crazy. I was like, is that Brittany? And you were like, where? I'm like, next to you.
Yeah. So anyway, so sort of in the spirit of MDF, this next piece is called
Snaggletooth's Guide to the Battle Vest.
Mhm.
In terms of clothing, few items are more important in the world of metal than the battle vest. Heck, we even saw two basset hounds wearing them. I wonder what my cat's centerpiece patch would be. Maybe Katara or Hatebeak?
We would have to have some catnip on it. Yeah.
It's part armor, part diary, part bad choices at record stores. The ultimate, highly customized, meticulously decorated piece of concert apparel. To your average Chance the Rapper fan, they look all the same. But those in the know can tell the connoisseurs from the noobs to just the plain oddballs. Here are a few guidelines we've developed from attending countless shows.
Okay, let's start with the jacket itself. Typically, it's worn denim, sleeves unceremoniously hacked off with unsharpened scissors and frayed like a tattered colonial flag. Soft leather is also acceptable as long as your mom has a decent enough sewing machine to accommodate it. Or you could try using that judgy dry cleaner seamstress lady decked out in religious jewelry. But how is she going to do a good job sewing on patches when she's holding her nose for the satanic imagery? Something about festival culture has encouraged substantial deviations from this rule. Apparently, to Gen Zs, anything can serve as your battle vest. A hoodie, a Letterman jacket, your mom's bathrobe, anything. I saw a dude at MDF with a converted tuxedo jacket. Imagine how that jacket feels. After formalizing 72 weddings, 8 bar mitzvahs, and 17 fundraisers, I ended up regularly soaked with beer and a necrophagia patch stitched on my back. Ah, the utter fun of blasphemy. One dude even customized his epaulets with Beanie Baby turtles.
The center mass patch. This is the big enchilada, and the choice is paramount. Your entire metal credibility lives or dies here. And make no mistake, the smaller patches surrounding it are nowhere near as important.
It's true.
Put it this way, it doesn't matter if you have a custom deceased, nihilist, or immolation patches scattered around it. If your center mast is Pantera or Slipknot,
Boo.
you will be harshly judged. I will raise an eyebrow if you combine Mayhem, Burzum, Black Braid, and Wham.
They're gonna throw the Beach Boys in there. Yeah.
The flip side of this is also important to understand. Pick a winner for your center mast. Repulsion, Sarcophago, or the Creeping Death EP, and all other choices are forgiven. You could surround it with patches from McDonaldland characters or Garbage Pail Kids, and your taste will never be questioned.
One thing I've noticed from time to time is the opting out of the center mast. Like a jacket with 6 or 7 smaller patches on the fringe where the Queen Mother may eventually exist. This is not approved. It's like majoring in undecided. Start with your center mast, people. Take your pitch and swing. It's like a sentence without a verb, or serving a sweet and sour peasant soup without an entree. It is a stew! It's a stew! I like people that get a little bold with the center mass instead of picking the same old choices. Tons of battle vests have consuming impulse center mass or tomb of the mutilated. Get out there and strut your cryptic slaughter convicted, maybe grief torso. Personally, if I did one, I think I would do like jism detestation, something like that, something that shows your connoisseur skills. We need movers and shakers for the big decisions, people.
Of course, picking the wrong album from the right band is equally disastrous. Be considerate of the person behind you that has to stare at Exodus, Force of Habit, or Death Angel frolic through the park for an entire set.
Again, boo. I think I'd rather have Slipknot, actually.
May as well go with Steely Dan or Chicago if you're going to go that route. I could personally rock the hell out of a Royal Scam backpatch.
I love the Royal Scam.
In terms of the smaller patches, I like a little variety. Say you've covered the bases band-wise, I think expressing yourself is important. Fuck Dave Grohl, save Ferris, Virginia is for lovers, and fuck around and find out are all strong possibilities with a good center mast.
Now, Stace is working on her battle vest. But me, there's a reason I never got one, because I'm a tattoo guy. I wear my Slayer, Sam Hain, Merciful Fate, COC on my actual body, which I think shows a deeper level of commitment. I've actually had people notice my Voivod tattoo, and they'll just start like reading my arms like I'm some kind of walking Decibel magazine or something. It's really a little weird. Okay, want to talk about our feature interview?
Our feature interview this week is with Mr. Curse, T.S. Kettleburner, and the Gentleman from the UK avant-garde black metal band, A Forest of Stars. We have a cozy chat with these three about everything from the formation of the band through the recording of their latest gem, Stack Overflow in Corpse Pile Interface. We play a merry round of blaspheming monikers, and there's even a bit of a Fairport convention geek out, so stay tuned for that.
Okay, let's get this going with weirdness. This is Ascension of the Clowns. Okay, let's talk about Hope for the Day.
Hope for the Day is a wonderful charity created to honor friends and family members lost to suicide. Founded in 2011, Hope for the Day started in the Chicago music scene during the outreach and has evolved into a major force for mental health awareness through programs like The Things We Don't Say. Their mission is to encourage early intervention for mental health challenges and help disrupt the risk factors that can lead to suicide.
Let's face it, so much of social media is just BS. Influencers will have you believe life is one endless stroll through gorgeous redwoods, protein smoothie in hand, but that's just not reality. Everyone has problems, everyone has insecurities, everyone struggles sometimes. Suicide often arises when someone believes there are no resources available to end their suffering. Reaching that point can happen through many different paths, but almost all of them involve feeling isolated, unheard, or unable to communicate the psychological impact of what they're experiencing.
I can tell you from personal experience, I have been at low points in my life. If you keep it inside, it's so much worse than if you talk about it with someone else. Sharing it, talking about it will help you with that burden. And believe me, I've been at low points. It always gets better again. If you or someone you know has ever found themselves in that dark place, please visit the link below and explore the resources Hope for the Day can offer you. And remember, this world is a better place because you are in it.
Okay, I have an announcement about our Patreon page. Okay. So I have acquired the 3 mystery beers finally. I finally did it. And they will become the subject of Stace's first blind beer taste test. We're going to record tonight, right after the show.
And then we're going to go burn some shit.
What flavors can she detect? Could it be bacon and eggs? Peanut butter pickle? Grilled cheese and marijuana? You'll just have to get over to Patreon and check it out to see what I've done. Great. And speaking of cheese, I think it's time. Hit it!
And now it's time for Obnoxious Trivia!
Okay, I want some documentary fodder here.
I was going to do notes and then I didn't.
Just
All right.
wing it, baby.
Number 1. Rosemary Bentley, who passed away in October 2017 at the age of 99, donated her body to research at a university in Portland, Oregon. What did the students discover at
It's
autopsy?
always about autopsies, isn't it? Okay.
A. She had teeth that had grown inside her eyes but had 20/20 vision. B. She had 5 children but retained a stillborn in her womb. C. Her liver, stomach, and other abdominal organs were reversed right to left. D. She had half the brain matter of the average person but had a totally normal IQ.
God, this is weird. I'll say C. Her liver, stomach, and other abdominal organs were reversed.
You are correct.
I have no idea how I knew that.
I forget the name of it because I didn't bring my notes this time, but there is an official name for this, and a lot of people live their whole lives and never realize that everything's reversed.
So her heart's like over here?
Yeah, and her stomach and everything
shit.
is reversed.
Weird.
So some people get discovered, like, say they're having a really bad pain and they're like, they can't be appendicitis, it's on the wrong side. But when they do a scan, your appendix is on the
Wow.
wrong side. But it is very, very rare.
Only in Portland. Okay, let's move on. Number 2.
Number 2, I went down a little CIA rabbit hole, warning.
Mm-hmm.
During the Cold War era of the 1950s, the CIA was determined to make use of the most powerful weapon that they could, the human mind.
Depends whose it is.
They used test subjects and administered drugs like LSD. What else did they employ in this study? A. John Mulholland, the magician, to learn distraction and deception. B. A lion tamer, Siegfried, to learn the art of training from reward systems. C. Using ads with subliminal messages to implant ideas. Or D. Used motivational speeches played over and over to brainwash subjects.
I knew the CIA did extensive LSD research. I know that.
I did.
I'm going to say C, using ads with subliminal message to implant ideas. It wasn't Clockwork Orange?
It was not. They actually, A, employed a magician to learn distraction. They actually brought in this guy who was a professional magician.
Did he make balloon animals while he was there? What the fuck?
This is your tax dollars at work.
Tax dollars at work.
Brought in
Don't get us started.
professional magician.
You see this on a toilet seat. Don't sit down. All right. 1 and 1. Let's see if I can take the power back. Go ahead.
Number 3, Acoustic Kitty was a top secret CIA project.
Kitty. When I saw that for the first time, I thought it was Coconut Kitty. The first thing I thought of was her tits. But go ahead.
Acoustic Kitty was a top secret CIA project launched in the 1960s that attempted to turn ordinary cats into covert living surveillance devices to spy on the Kremlin.
It's a great idea.
What event actually happened? A. Operatives released the cat with a microphone in its ear to a nearby park that successfully transmitted a conversation of 2 men sitting on a bench. B. A cat field operative was able to jump up on a table and take pictures of important documents. C. One trained feline was able to detect drugs and mark the spot with urine. Or D. The first test subject was hit by a taxi right after deployment.
Well, since this didn't go anywhere, I'm going to go with D. The first one was hit by a taxi. As sad as it is.
Some dollars on this. Let the cat go. Oh.
So they had a microphone recording of someone licking their ass for 4 hours. That's what they got.
Yeah, they abandoned this after this. It was not
terrible.
a good idea.
That's terrible, but in another way, very understandable that would happen.
Yeah.
So.
Cats are just that they do what they want to do. They're not.
That's right. Okay.
That's why there's no feline top help.
That's
you don't
right.
see that ever. It's always canine.
Okay, number 4.
Project A119 was a top secret proposal developed by the United States Air Force in 1958 with the intention of detonating a nuclear bomb on the moon. Why did they decide not to go through with it?
Why would you want to do that? Anyway, okay.
A, planners feared it would desensitize the public to nuclear bombs. B, there was a worry the detonation could cause a tidal shift here on Earth. B, because the moon lacks an atmosphere, the explosion would not produce a dramatic mushroom cloud. Or D, they forgot about the Outer Space Treaty that banned nuclear detonations in outer space. 1958.
This is so ridiculous. I mean, my concern would be B. There was worry that a detonation could fuck up the tides here on Earth.
No, they actually canned it. What they were trying to do was make the Soviets scared,
Hmm.
but then they realized if they did a nuclear device up there, there's no atmosphere, there wouldn't be some big mushroom cloud. So they
It was
decided
all
not
for
to do it.
show.
Yeah,
Wow.
they were trying to scare the Russians.
Forget about the Russians. Yeah.
But
Just sure you're gonna hear. Just sure you're gonna hear about Russians. You're gonna hear about Mexicans. You're gonna hear about Danish people, Polish people. I mean, there's a lot. This is a very internationally friendly show this week. I just true story.
anyway, some of these CIA things, what the hell they come up with this? I mean, they could have potentially done something disastrous to the moon.
Yeah.
Grew aside.
All right. Well, this has been Obnoxious Trivia. I actually got two right. Look at that. Boss, I'm looking at the cat cam. It's 10 minutes of scratch, 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 and then stare. And then scratch, 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 and then stare. For 8 straight hours. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it would have been great if the cat was like able to, if they could have put catnip on the guys they were trying, and then the cat would have rubbed on them.
I guess.
I can't hear the cat keeps rubbing on stuff. I
That's
can
right.
hear the conversation. They go
Hmm.
as she rubs her face on everything.
They will not be tamed. No. Okay, it's time for our Snaggletoon, and this one's called
Battle Hymn of the Flummoxed. The creation of the Mexican national anthem, Himno Nacional Mexicano, is a tale best described as an inspiration by way of hostage situation. In 1853, Mexico held a national contest to find lyrics for an official anthem. The government wanted something inspiring, heroic, emotional. One poet they really wanted involved was Francisco Gonzalez Bocanera. Problem was, Bocanegra had absolutely no interest in entering the contest. Anthem, boring.
his girlfriend Guadalupe Gonzalez del Pino took the opportunity a little too seriously. According to the story, she locked him in a room at her parents' house, surrounded by images from Mexican history, until he came out with a masterpiece. Imagine being trapped in a room for hours with paintings of revolutions, battles, and a crazy woman yelling, Cancion, por favor! Borderline felony aside, it worked brilliantly. The poem won the contest and became the official anthem of Mexico. Even more amazingly, the girlfriend later became his wife. Hey, romance, imprisonment, potato, potato.
This might be the only moment in human history where national pride was temporarily replaced by minty freshness. It happened in Athens during a soccer match between teams from Greece and China. A fairly standard international setup. Flags, jerseys, tension, snacks sold at stadium inflated prices. Then the speakers kicked in a solemn orchestral track, so the crowd stood. The Chinese players snapped to attention, assuming they were hearing the Greek national anthem.
The Greek players also stood, equally certain they were hearing the Chinese anthem. Since no one really knows foreign anthems, I mean, that's not something we cover in social studies, people. For a few surreal seconds, the entire stadium shared a moment of mutual respect, each side politely honoring what they believed was the other nation's identity. Finally, the music ended, and an announcer coolly identified the song as sponsored by Crest Ultra White. Proved to be a moment of unity and tolerance, two nations united in a battle against tooth decay.
The story behind Uganda's anthem, O Uganda, Land of Beauty, is essentially a bad round of American Idol auditions. Back in the early 1960s, Uganda had held a contest to find a national anthem before independence, which means somewhere there exists an alternate timeline full of rejected patriotic demos and third round French horn player eliminations. You could almost picture the judging committee sitting there like exhausted talent show judges. Next contestant, enter a man carrying a bongo and 12 honking geese who is immediately banned from the building. No.
Apparently, the submissions were so underwhelming the committee basically canceled the competition. Then composer George Wilberforce Kakoma stepped in with the energy of Hold My Beer. Legend says he composed the anthem in less than a day. Now, this is all well and good, but the result was one of the shortest national anthems on Earth. 9 measures long, blink and you'll miss it. Bazooka Comics and Silicate Gel packets have more substance than this track.
Other countries have sprawling orchestral epics filled with dramatic crescendos and enough verses to require hydration breaks. At international events like the Olympic Games, they literally have to play Uganda's song twice in a row because otherwise it is not enough time to hand out 3 medals. There's something kind of admirable about it. Other anthems wander through 14 verses about rivers, kings, vengeance, wheat production, and symbolic birds. Uganda's anthem clocks in, salutes the flag, and amscrays like the second round of Happy Birthday.
Finally, the American national anthem has its own odd backstory that makes us wonder how we even got the song at all. The Star Spangled Banner was written by Francis Scott Key in 1814, but he did not write the music. He basically lifted the melody from To Anacreon in Heaven, the official anthem of a fancy London gentlemen's club called the Anacreonic Society. We're not talking some solemn orchestral masterpiece either. It's actually a notoriously difficult drinking song about wine, partying, and Greek mythology. So kicking off every American sporting event now is essentially remove your hats for the sacred alcohol ballad.
The melody was already famous across England and America because drunk people loved trying and failing to sing it, which honestly explains why the anthem still destroys those that attempt to be anthem vocals at baseball games. Here's the funniest part. Francis Scott Key himself was reportedly not musical. Biographers suggest he may have even been tone deaf. So the guy responsible for America's official song was quite musically impaired. America.
All right, first let me say appalling, appalling, appalling. And second, doesn't that guy look an awful lot like Enrico Palazzo?
A lot.
Is it me? I don't know. Anyway, let's play a song. This is Street Level Vertigo.
Power saved by never insisting. Descended like the fair essence of filth on a foul wind they did. Infantilized those fertile minds they did. Holy guardian angels they were. But we did that hole, not that one.
Okay, let's talk about Coffee AM, and we have the very thing here.
We do. Tragically, we ran out of this week.
But we did okay.
Yeah.
We actually found, I want you to buy whatever that was from now on if we run out.
So this is well worth it. We are restocked again with our Coffee AM. This one we already got into. This is a chocolate almond coffee, which I am actually
It's
enjoying
absolutely
right
delicious, right? Yes.
But you can see the vacuum seal on this bag, the foil lining. This will keep your coffee safe. Oh, it still smells
Suitable for framing.
delightful.
Yes.
And we get ours drip grind. You can get it French press if you're a weirdo.
French press isn't weird. Decaf is weird. Yeah.
Or you can get it whole bean if you prefer to grind beans yourself.
Yep.
There
Never
are
met French coffee I didn't like.
there are
They know their fucking coffee.
This we haven't got into. It's an English toffee coffee. We love their flavors. They're never overdone. I'm tapping, I'm showing.
Zoom's not going to allow it. Yeah.
And this one is a old-fashioned gingerbread coffee. Now how much would you pay?
I can't stand that new school gingerbread shit. I want the old school
OG gingerbread.
OG gingerbread. Yeah.
So they also have unflavored coffees as well, if you prefer. They have lots of teas, coffee accoutrements, and it all gets FedEx directly to your door from Georgia. Each order is roasted when you place it. How do you know? Well, they put your name on the bag.
That's right.
Use our link. It will save you off your first order from Coffee AM.
Excellent. Excellent. And now it's time for Bombastic Plastic.
Bombastic.
Bombastic!
Very excited about this one. We're going to talk about Artillery's album Terror Squad from 1987. Now, for some reason, the title Terror Squad always makes me think of the old Legion of Doom cartoons from back in the day, with all the cheesy villains that sat around what looks like a head table at a wedding, making diabolical plans to foil the Super Friends. Now, Lex Luthor is the leader, aggressively bald and quite muscular, and he's always standing at the pulpit giving orders, which has got to be exhausting. I also noticed they didn't spend a lot of time producing exotic names, choosing simple monikers like Brainiac and Giganta. I liked it when they would get into little arguments at the Legion of Doom, like where to hide out. You're wet behind the ears if you think we're hiding out in the ocean, Black Manta. I remember the pilot. Each time Lex introduces a new character, they destroy something. Like Captain Cold shoots his freeze ray at a chandelier, which disintegrates. Cheetah claws up the counter. The gorilla dude smashes a table. I'm like, hey, who's paying for all this stuff? You know? Also, for some reason, Bizarro Superman character talked like a caveman. Superman, not so super now. Nobody explained anything, and we never questioned it. We just went with it.
Maybe he's related to Tarzan.
I don't know.
If you're seeking villains slightly less scary looking, Artillery's 1987 album, Terror Squad, provides it in the most puzzling way imaginable. Two cops, what looks like an evil crossing guard, and some surgeon with a syringe? Oh, and what looks like a rat on a leash. What kind of terrible shenanigans is this bunch capable of pulling? Most of us know the story behind the artwork, but in case you missed it, Neat Records' reputation for skimping on details to save money had already become legendary by the mid-80s. But in an astonishing act of cheapness, when Artillery delivered Terror Squad, they were forced to find their own artwork at the last minute as the label refused, hence the crappy cover. Of course, Neat had a few doozies before this one. Ravens Wiped Out, Adam Kraft's Queen of Death, and Tyson Dog's Crimes of Insanity. To be fair, that one at least offered up a sexy ass, were all examples of questionable artwork from the label.
This is going to sound strange, but for years, I never even noticed the cover. See, we had a friend back then that was an avid metal collector, and he played us like 2 songs from the album before it was in stores, and we were hooked. I was so impressed by the riffs, the leads, the vocals. The cover could have been blank and I would have bought it and paid import prices for it.
Artillery continued collaboration with producers Lars Overgaard Christian results in an album even more powerful than the debut. Fans of the genre seeking honest, down and dirty barking crunch and blitzkrieg percussion couldn't ask for more. Somehow the mix avoids the poor drum sounds and obscured vocals that plagued many recordings of the time period. Ronsdorf's sinister yowls adorn the crashes and chugs with unparalleled majesty. The remarkable thing about the engineering on this disc is Christensen isn't a metal guy. His production credits range from Disneyland After Dark to Eurovision winner and pop singer Gry Melstrup, and even co-produced a Dizzy Miss Lizzy album.
Stop, I'm going to cry.
Even so, this man dialed up one of the most aggressive cost of riff tones for these sessions. Guitarists Michael Sutzer and Jorgen Sandow pull from a bottomless war chest of riffs, typically busting out at least 3 glorious variations in every song. And Sutzer's leads. Let's just say we're not talking anything smacking of slow hand, rather hyperactive bursts of metallic speed shred, further intensifying a composition already going like a bat out of hell.
This thing wastes no time, announcing itself in the crackling golden intro to The Challenge, which soon slams into hyperdrive courtesy of drummer Karsten Nielsen. The riffs presented during this track, like many other on this record, are full of improvisation, nothing robotic, full of little variations that up the intensity level in fascinating ways. The push-pull between the speeding segments and the galloping mid-pace create marvelous tension throughout the song, and vocalist Flemming Ronsdorf makes it sound easy, floating his power metal-style Gargamel voice seamlessly over the guitars, regardless of velocity, prime time ready for the apocalypse. We thought we were wise, but we cannot survive on this earth. It's no wonder this one has remained a live staple 4 decades in. The title track is one of the slower, doomier cuts on the album, but from the very first note, the riff tone is simply scalding, and a true testament to the rhythm skills of Sandow. The breaking glass in the chorus and terror, terror shouldn't work so well, but it is 100% Headbanger's delight from start to finish. Ronsdorf packing just a few too many syllables into each line, kind of like Phil Lynott. Living by terror, government blessed. You're taking your prisoners and shoot down the rest. Before we know it, Stutzer is wailing, hammering, tearing his guitar to pieces in another spectacular lead.
Let's play a clip. This is Terror Squad.
Terror Squad.
I could easily do a track by track for this one, but I know you'd all have me kicked out of the United Brotherhood of Half-Assed Reviews. Not that I'm thrilled with the increased dues imposed by the Ubhar. Anyway, don't get me started.
Ubohar.
Ubhar.
Ubar.
You can tell the band was experimenting with all manner of guitars, amps, and pedals in the blazing riff that kicks off Hunger and Greed, while Abrasive as Hell is a completely different tone than any other on the record. It's another tightly executed balancing act between fleet-footed thrash and chest-thumping mid-pace. Ronster's lyrics aren't rock and roll for the sake of rocking fair by any stretch of the imagination. This time calling medical technology and human greed to the carpet with phrases like, driven by hunger and greed, your pleasure is others' defeat. Plus, the lead in this one is absolutely shit hot, and I love the way he revs that final bend to close it out.
That's great. For the follow-up, By Inheritance, the band sought out Metallica producer Flemming Rasmussen, and the results were patchy. Much less bite in the riff department, lots of long, boring intros. A lot of people will disagree with me on this, but to me, this is the definitive Artillery album. The band is still active today, having just released the EP Made in Hell this month, with Stutzer the mainstay original member, so check it out. So till next time, folks, here's something to ponder. Do you think the Legion of Doom had assigned seating? Like Sinestro complains to Luther, do I have to sit next to Scarecrow? Dude smells like manure. The world may never know. Let's hear Hunger and Greed.
Makes you swear.
Okay, what interesting to you?
This was our interview with a
Weird.
this music has actually really grown on me. I was listening to it running the other night. So now when I do this, you can't automatically assume that I'm listening to a dying bride when I have in my earbuds. It could be this.
The dudes from Dodheimsgard are listening to it going, this is fuck, man.
Anyway, check it out. Really interesting band, really interesting album, really won me over. We really, when we were doing this review, we really had to kind of refocus and recalibrate, but once we did it, anyway, so A Forest of Stars is definitely something I'm going to come back to.
Right? Take it away. Why don't you go around and introduce yourselves and what your part in the band is?
Okay, well, I'll start. I'm the gentleman, also known as Rick, and I play keyboards, and I was one of the main producer and one of the main songwriters.
I'm
Hey there, I'm Kettle Burner, also known as John. I play guitars and do some backing vocals in the Forest of Stars.
okay.
So I'm Curse, also Dan, vocals and words.
All right.
Very, very interesting style vocals. We'll get into that briefly.
Yeah, I am.
So the name of the band seems kind of rooted in celestial and earth magic. What inspired? I kept thinking to come across some poem that was called that, by A.A. Milne or something.
That's actually, yeah, it's kind of mundane, really. When we were getting close to starting the band, we were like, it was Curse and I were like talking in a pub, basically, just going like trying to kick around ideas for names. And I had like at that time like a Moleskine book kind of thing, like which was just filled with all sorts of writings and drawings and clippings and all sorts of stuff. And Dan was just flicking through it, like looking for stuff, and he came across a poem that, or whatever that I'd written, I can't remember. And one of the lines was "A Forest of Stars," and he was like, "That's it," and he was like, "That was it. no more discussion, no nothing. We're like, yep, that'll do. So it was just something that I'd written at one point or another ages beforehand, and that just happened to be it. But you're right, it kind of, I've always said it kind of weirdly sums up the idea that we're kind of we have like an earthy kind of rootedness, like in the soil kind of thing, but also we're reaching out into the cosmos kind of thing at the same time, like musically with what we kind of do. So it kind of weirdly retroactively fits, as it were.
Yeah.
At what point did the project evolve from kind of a fully functioning band identity? Did everyone come on at once, or did people kind of come and as the thing went on?
So we started as a 4-piece with no intent to play live. But somehow, somewhere in the world, people found the record and bought the record and wanted to hear us play. So we gathered some more able bodies, and here we are.
How did you find each other? Was it through, some bands find each other through sticky notes, some do on like Craigslist or just through friends. How did you all come together?
It's all basically all friends, as far as I can remember or work it out. It's just it was all friends, or somebody in the band's friends or good friends, like from being on the same circuit of playing, or just friends, and that was it really. It's all, the most important thing is about the band is that we are all friends and we all get on together. So it really came from a natural place to, when we were needing somebody, we always thought of somebody that we already knew was a good friend and got on really well with. And that was the main component, basically, of how I built it.
Yeah, and I'll add that's kind of really important, and like over the years we have had 1 or 2 lineup changes as we've gone on, but every time we've want to bring in someone we know and we trust, that's massively important to us.
Yeah, we hear that a lot. Just in a lot of the interviews that we've done, it's almost like gotten to the point where finding great technical players is easy compared to finding someone that you can really get along with who will sign all the autographs and, not create problems,
Yeah, I don't think we'd have imploded if we didn't have a group of friends as solid as we have.
Yeah.
It's not. I personally couldn't be in a situation where it was just a matter of someone just plays with you. It needs to be more than that for it to work, I think.
Yeah.
You guys don't arrive in separate limos and talk.
Just strap me to the roof rack.
Yeah. Like Sabbath at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and everybody's at different tables,
Oh God.
Yeah.
No.
But yeah, I can't imagine it would be anathema for us.
Yeah, it'd be hell, to be honest. It would. What would be the point?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, apart from the money and the fame and the fortune and the speedboats, but
Yeah,
what would be
exactly.
the point?
Somehow that's a pittance compared to friendship. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with so many moving parts and arrangements, what does the writing process look like? Is it file trading, rehearsal room jams, individual composition, or a combination of everything?
Yes.
Sorry, John.
Yeah, so songwriting wise, it's very much we have the concept of like someone who kind of is like for every song there's always someone who started the process. They might come with just a couple of ideas. They might come with a nearly fully formed song. That really varies. But what we've found, especially with this album, is that not trying to kind of overthink it, not be fully formed, and just allow for a few of us to be in a room together, and really let the song build there in kind of as a collaborative like way as possible. It's like worked out so well for us in my opinion this time. I would say that we've tried and done different things over the years. Like kind of previously we tried doing things online over file shares, and that just kind of really kind of didn't work at all for I think a lot of people. But yeah, realistically, just kind of being a quiet room at talking level together, just having ideas, talking, kind of laughing, kind of and just kind of being together is like kind of like really kind of what seems to have made things work this time around. Slightly different to what we've done before, but things really felt like they had to change at this point.
So, that being said, there was an entire album that was written. And at what point were you guys like, this isn't working? And are we going to keep parts of it? Or are we going to just completely start over? And how did that feel emotionally to have that happen?
It's wrapped up in a lot of different things. Is that it's very complicated, really, to explain it to its full extent. But essentially, we created and we pushed, like Kettlebell and I especially were like kind of we felt like we were getting trapped in a rut musically, and so we were trying to push or lead a charge to push things in other more interesting directions and all this kind of stuff. And we kept going along with this, and it was basically when we got to the point. We were asking the label for a budget, proving a budget with the label to go into the studio and stuff to do it. And then some of the band members were like, well, hang on, I'm not really sure about this kind of thing. And it's like, okay, well, let's take a step out, let's look. And then just very quickly, we just pulled the whole thing apart and went, no. And it led to a lot of kind of really bad vibes and arguments and stuff. And it was particularly difficult because it was during COVID hit. So we were all separated and all like stuck in our own heads and were taking it out on each other. But basically, after we could meet up again in person, kind of thing, we sorted it out very, very quickly. And the one thing that we all agreed was there was so much baggage now tied up with it in that old version of the album that we just have to completely put it to one side and start afresh. And that was the only way that we felt we could all move forward together. And to be honest, everybody has their own point of view of this and their own feelings on this, and I can't speak for anyone else. But yeah, I put so much. I can't even think how many hours I put into that original version, and I was absolutely devastated for ages. But I knew it was the right thing to do, and when we'd found our way forward, kind of thing, it's just. I now look back on that and I'm like, I'm glad we didn't have that album anymore. And I'm glad we kind of put it in a dimensional pocket or whatever and just left it and moved on. And now everything feels so much better, like with the band, with the music, with the writing, everything. It was a necessary process, but sometimes the hardest, most brutally stuff has to be kind of thing to get it to work. You have to really yeah, you have to really pull yourself apart to put yourself back together again, basically, as a band.
Yeah.
Did any parts carry over, or was this a complete rewrite?
So how come you weren't a biker bar?
No idea. Too drunk. Anyway, the whole place suddenly erupts in this huge fight, bottles flying, guys slamming each other into tables.
Oh, God.
So I spot this beverage cart with a tablecloth over it. It turned out it was a great hiding place for about 5 minutes until I started to feel someone wheeling me down the hall. I'm like, where are they taking me? So then, oh, hi.
Oh, hey. So we know you're here for our epic discussion with A Forest of Stars, but just a quick aside, we do interviews like this every week here at Snaggletooth Decay. Like our fascinating 2-part discussion with Steve Austin from Today is the Day, covering everything from disastrous van wrecks to chickens wandering through his house.
Or our discussion with up-and-coming black metal superstar David Duane, discussing one of the most caustic releases of 2026, Awakened Ancient Spirits. And be sure to subscribe today so you never miss one of our fantastic Mark and Stace chats. And now, back to A Forest of Stars.
Absolutely nothing. No, absolutely nothing. We did think for a while, oh, maybe we might, let's see how far we get, and then maybe we want to pill for a few bits, but then we just realized we didn't need to. And I mean, we were talking like, I think it was last weekend or whatever, we were talking about, do we want to go back and maybe look at some of those bits? And everybody's just like, nah, we just don't feel like it. Never say never, or any day, and all the demos are all kept, everything's all there kind of thing, all the ideas are all in storage, but we just it's just to those songs are now so tied up in like kind of this emotional mess that it's just not worth that it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. Just leave it be.
Yeah. And I'll add that I really feel in Stack Overflow we achieved in my eyes what we set out to do with that scrapped album anyway. So it's kind of well, sure, there's like there's ideas there and stuff that I look back quite fondly on from that. I feel like kind of we've like we were able to really kind of grow and do what we wanted to in the first place, but just in a way that worked. So it's kind of I'm not necessarily saying it's rendered it completely kind of completely useless now, but kind of it was a process that was more important rather than the actual idea, I think, in the end.
Yeah, definitely.
You think it'll make its way onto the AFOS, the early years box set one day,
Wait,
Yeah.
hang on, wait. So we've been nearly 20 years, and that's when we bring out the early years. So the early years is the first 20 years. Oh God.
Okay,
yeah. If we release it when we're in our like 70s or 80s, then maybe that'll be that'll count as early years, won't it?
Okay.
So.
It'll be the lost tapes.
Right, that
Yeah,
collector's edition,
yeah.
right? Only 200 pressed, right? Exactly.
For the names of the band members, are they earned, given, or something that's kind of bestowed upon you, like a knighthood?
Yeah.
Sorry, John. Sorry, go.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, we everyone chooses their own Forest of Stars title. So, for instance, when William Whitebarrow came in, he was allowed to choose his own. So I think they reflect kind of people's personalities, and kind of some of them have got little stories in them and stuff anyway. So it's quite kind of quite nice, really, kind of people taking kind of some of the concepts and our ideas and saying how they're going to kind of imprint them on themselves. It's always been super interesting.
Kind of had a Narnia vibe for me because everybody in that is Miss Lucy or Mr. Tumnus. It struck me that way.
Yeah, the only rule is that you have to pick a name for it. That's it. That's the only rule. Apart from that, you can pick anything you like.
Has anybody ever picked a name and then changed it like a year or two
Oh,
later?
I did. I changed mine, although I left it too late. I was like, I changed I changed at the like literally a couple of weeks before the first album was out, and I was like, I've got a shit or take get off the pot kind of thing, and I was like, oh damn it, and so I just I literally went, I'll just go with the Gentleman, it'll be fine, because we didn't expect anything out of this project. We expected to record the album and done, and then just go back to what else we were doing kind of thing, and now I'm stuck with it 20 years later.
I was given to me by an old friend. He nicknamed me Mr. Curse, and it sort of stuck on the bone.
Okay.
And what a great vocalist name.
Yeah, it is. Seriously.
Very kind.
So much better than Archgoat Blasphemer number 42.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know, the number 42 makes it.
So when you're arranging a track, what element usually acts as the anchor, or is there not one that keeps everything kind of consistent?
It depends on the song. Like sometimes it can start with the guitars, as a traditional thing, or it might start this album, there was stuff that was started on the piano, or there's stuff that was started on the violin. It really just depends really on who's like involved in sort of that initial process. It's really whatever their instrument is usually the thing that will be the starter for it, kind of thing. That's it. There's no hard or fast rule about it. So yeah, it's just on a case by case basis.
Is there a person kind of a fearless leader who's usually in charge, and is there another person who usually likes to derail things on the other end of the spectrum?
Well, there's I think like we've become collectively quite good at self-editing anyway. So I think there's a couple of personalities of the band, probably kind of like at least two of us are on here today, but we're a bit stronger than the others from that point of view. But with regards with regards to kind of just how that range of personalities works, like there's like luckily there's no derailment, or if there is, it's usually for a good reason. So it kind of comes probably from the same group of individuals from that point of view, both the kind of the makers and ruiners in one sitting.
Is there ever, I mean, the denseness of your arrangements is really amazing. I mean, is there ever a time when it becomes, no, the didgeridoo is too much, you know?
Oh
Is there
gosh,
ever
yeah.
those types of arguments, you know?
And actually, weirdly, this time, the way that the deliberate way that we figured out how to write, we were trying to work out how to write again, and we deliberately from the ground up started with, we're sick of it being like such a mess and such a sonically, like, you know, it's like a wall-to-wall kind of thing of just dense instruments, as you say, kind of thing. So we really worked really hard this time to sort of make sure that everything had its space. And to be honest, all it required was, as we were going through and building the songs and people were adding their stuff, was just talking to people and going, well, I think that this space, is in, like it's starting off with, I think that this space needs to be left without you here, because then that means that this other person can shine or whatever. But then that quickly turned into everybody just going, oh, do you know what? I don't want to play there because it will block somebody, or I do want to play over here, so maybe they could change it. Like, yeah, and it became a very fluid process of people understanding like how the song needs to be built and worked. It worked. It's actually crazy how well that worked, to be honest, as
cool.
in terms of us all writing together, kind of thing.
I really like Curse's delivery, and I like that it's inspired by Anne Clark. I like her style. And I thought it was a little frightening on the bio sheet. It said, as for, also with a steady diet of prescription drugs and rusty nails. Um, is it
I'm
like
not
an
actually
insight
familiar
to
with Anne Clark,
suggest the
if I'm totally honest.
jitteriness, and do you become a character when you're performing that, or does it just come from within?
It comes from within. I'll be honest and say I'm not actually familiar with Anne Clark, though I do need to look into that, because now it's been bestowed upon me. But no, really, it's the part of me that I'm not allowed to air in public for fear of incarceration. So it's all the stuff I couldn't do anywhere else, which is very healthy for me, I will be honest and say.
Yeah, it's a catharsis.
It is, but yeah, it's not. It's genuinely. It's not. I mean, I don't think it's an act. It's obviously other people see it as such, but it's it's as much a part of me as everything else. But it's the nasty bits that don't generally get a public airing.
It has a very thespian feel in a way, but you can feel that it's really, coming with raw emotion at the same time. Do you do any kind of vocal warm-ups, or do you just let it go?
It's kind of difficult to do for me, but I mean, yeah, I mean, I kind of have to try and at least open my airwaves up a little bit. Otherwise, the first half of the set would be a farce. But it's kind of difficult, depending on the venue or whatever where we are. Feel like a bit of an ass. I start ranting and shouting to myself. But yeah, the short answer is yes. I do try to. Otherwise, it could have a very negative effect. Otherwise,
Well, at least you're not in the bathroom shouting to yourself.
Right.
not at the moment.
I went out at work the other day, and there was a restroom in the hallway, and someone was in there yelling, I guess, on the phone at someone else. I'm like, why didn't you go outside?
Yeah, crazy.
Bathroom yelling. Weird.
I wanted to ask you, so as vocally, what are some of the crazier comparisons you've gotten? You know, like and do you agree with them or disagree with them?
There's been some really kind ones that I can't possibly agree with. But I mean, I won't name names. But I mean, inspiration wise, Devil Doll, the the prog band, not the rockabilly band, were a huge influence and inspiration for me. Probably more than I'd like to admit. Skyclad is easily the biggest one. That, all right, it's amazing to be compared to such a person. And so I have named names, but there's been other ones recently which I don't see it. But it's what's the word I'm after? It's too kind, I think is what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So I love how you brand yourself distinctively as British black metal, like separating yourself from the Scandinavian lineage. When you strip away the aesthetics, what would you say Britishness actually brings to the music itself?
Who wants to answer this one?
Do you want me to
I'll
take a stab? Oh, John, go. No, John, please, yes.
yeah, I'll take this one. So the whole British black metal side of things is been really interesting because, like, while I will say in the spirit of a question that like I think a certain amount of like self-deprecation and just kind of like not what not necessarily wanting to recognize recognize yourself is probably a fairly like kind of substantial and real answer to that question. But in all in all truth, like we've kind of gone through this process, kind of really what like we don't really see that ourselves. We kind of just want to make interesting music. We've had to kind of really kind of hand that up a bit during the release of this record because it felt from the record company's point of view that'd be quite an interesting way of angling things. Like we're kind of really kind of really keen not to attach ourselves too strongly to it. There's a lot of potential repercussions and negative angles of that, in terms of like small-minded Britishisms, kind of Little England, that kind of thing, and kind of there's a lot of negative connotations that we entirely don't want to connect ourselves to with that. But at the same time, kind of if people see that in us, and we are ultimately a product of our products of our kind of our upbringing and our background in the end. So from that point of view, we don't wear it on our sleeves. We'd kind of like I think collectively at the time we were kind of wanting to kind of really aim ourselves as if we had to regionalise ourselves to describe ourselves as Yorkshire black metal, which is the county in England where we're all from, or kind of where we live at least. But in uh, in reality, there's obviously kind of quite a lot of well, there's so much great music that's come from these isles over the last 50 years and stuff like that. Then kind of them taking some positive out of it. It's probably that kind of if people see that as a good thing, then sure.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I've watched a lot of like either on social media or documentaries about American bands, and if there's parts where like everybody's crying, I remember thinking to myself, "Where's the stiff upper lip? You never see a British band doing this, Dry your eyes for Christ's sake, just I don't know. It's just it's like a steeliness, So yeah,
Absolutely, yeah. You can't show any sense of like honesty about how you're feeling about yourselves. I guess in the end, that's probably that's probably we're much less earnest than yourselves across the pond in general. I think, aren't we? So
yeah.
yeah.
Complete denial of emotion. Like,
Yeah. There's a
yeah.
lot of it in Rob Halford's book talks about it a lot. He really frames it up really well about that whole you don't break down and, show your emotions in front of other people. It's just not in the DNA. So, yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I'm an exception there because I think I do that too much. But it's one of those things, I think.
It's wild how different cultures handle things. We talked with Matter Mortem, and in Norway, if you're upset or depressed, you're not supposed to talk about it. It's considered bad form to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you're burdening others with your problems. Just,
Yeah.
it's wild to me that certain cultures have that like ingrained.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But here,
yeah, but maybe unhealthy coping mechanisms as kind of helps with like Europeans metal scene. Maybe that's the angle of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love the cover art. I think it fits the music so well. Again, it's like organic roots and almost giving birth to some kind of space age head. Was it commissioned or was it art that you found?
I painted it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I missed that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the band allowed me to do the artwork for the whole album, so
That's great.
it's throughout as well, which is a hugely it's a point of pride, and it's lovely that I've been able to do that. So I'm glad you like it. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Very tattoo worthy too. With
Yeah,
those roots and
it is. Yeah.
And I'm surprised if someone comes up to you one day with that on.
Yeah, it could happen. Yeah.
You never know.
So for Stack Overflow and Corpse Pile Interface, can you unpack that? Because there is a lot going on there. There is death, there
The
is
title, yeah.
overflow, and all kinds of stuff going on as far as, and then interfaces, putting it all together.
So I'll probably fumble explaining this, but it's by and large it's intended as a sort of computing terminology, whereby in my eyes at least, we're all faced with so much death and destruction and abject misery on a daily basis by the world. So yeah, the corpse pile's got so big that it hasn't got space for itself. So the stack overflow would be that there's too much to go in memory. There isn't a place to put it, so it fails. So it's kind of a suggestion that our minds are failing because of the pure amount of abject horror that we're dealing with, and it's kind of like there's a line where you can go no further, and it sort of feels like where I'm sure they can always go further, but I prefer they didn't. But yeah, that's my thinking really behind that title. But again, like always, we always talk about titles. We don't just somebody doesn't just come along and say we're doing this. We always make sure we've spoken about it and that we're reasonably all happy with what we've got. But yeah, it feels like a fitting title for what we have in the album lyrically.
Yeah, it's crazy to me that we consider ourselves advanced people who recycle, and then there are still countries invading other countries. It's very hard to put all that together as evolved people, and we're still acting like Neanderthals in a way. I don't know if that'll ever stop, or somebody will be like, you know what, this is getting us nowhere, but maybe someday.
I can't see it happening. Power corrupts, doesn't it? Unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I really loved Sway, Drape, and Vig. It has a very jazzy intro. Is there anyone who has a jazz background? And hiding
God, I
in the
hope not.
closet?
I hope not. No, it's not true. We don't hate jazz, do we? That's wrong. It depends on the we love. I'll tell you what, I had to explain it. We love Twin Peaks. We absolutely adore Twin Peaks. Like Twin Peaks is like my favorite show ever, and I'm pretty sure I could name several of the back. Yeah, Curse as well, and like White Barrow and stuff like that. We absolutely adore it. So if there is a jazz influence, it is definitely a David Lynch and Angelo Badalamenti influence, jazz influence. That's where it comes from, if it does.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but God, no, I think there's a there's a lot of jazz that we're not really into as well, to be honest. But that slinky late night kind of stuff, yeah. Definitely.
Right.
I suppose I'm kind of maybe an exception here because there is quite a bit of jazz that I've found that I actually like in later life. But I won't go into any detail. There's a lot of jazz I don't like as well, but hey.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing with us all. We have a very wide-ranging set of inspirations and influences and so on. So it's a good melting pot, really, for us to bounce off each other and stuff with those.
Yeah, it comes through. It does. Yeah.
But at the same point, when the riffs hit in that song, it's such a contrast to the soft vocal layers. And do you think you design songs to kind of unnerve the listener and make them think and get them on their toes? Is that conscious or does that just happen?
Nothing is conscious. Well, okay, I will say from my point of view as a songwriter, nothing is conscious, but that's not true, really. I mean, stuff like that is not conscious. There's a lot of thought gone into dynamics. Effectively, the reason why stuff hits really hard there is because we really concentrated on the contrasting of the dynamics and stuff. Because it's like you can't have something sound heavy if all you've got coming before it is heavy stuff. Yeah, you know, as in it's a very obvious and trite principle, but that's it. And so that's why with that one, but we really tried to push the extremes with that song, of like all the varying dynamics and then long passages of quiet stuff, and then which then really amps up all the other stuff alongside it, kind of thing. So yeah, so from that point of view, that was deliberate, but the unsettlingness and the making people feel a certain way is completely just the product of what we do, not something that we do with intent.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
I'll say along with that, when we first started as well, like all we wanted to do was make like a kind of like some kind of like atmospheric black metal project of some description, and it just happened to turn out the way it was. That was through no direction. It just seems to be kind of this set of people just naturally make kind of something that sounds like kind of sounds like what we do. I guess it's almost through a complete lack of design where a lot of it has come from. In fact, we just can't seem to not do it this way.
Yeah, I kind of found that the violin, and I saw a lot of reviewers say that there were folk parts in it. Are there any intentional kind of folk music or folklore that made its way into the music, or is that just incorrect to call it folksy?
Katie, I mean, so Catherine, Queen of the Ghosts, I should call her. As a real official title befits her. She just writes a certain way, like the way that you hear the violin is just how Katie always plays the violin and writes the violin. And I don't mean that as in like she's stuck in like one mode of writing or whatever. She's extremely dynamic with that, but she just knows how to. She has an incredible skill of you can play her a set of chords and she'll just come up with this magical melody to go at the top of it. It's just ingrained in. But like not all of us in the band, but some of us, quite a few of us in the band are heavily into sort of folk, especially English folk like Steel Eye Span and Fairport Convention and Pentangle and stuff like that. So I can't say there isn't some folk influence somewhere because we definitely have a fair few members that listen to it. But Katie specifically, she just writes that way, and she has a very folksy, almost sometimes like Americana kind of folk, bluesgrassy kind of way as well, kind of thing. It's just all the different influences and just the way that she prefers to play and write, I think, and it just happens to come out like that.
Yeah, I've always been a big Fairport, Richard Thompson, just lunatic, right? And I remember years ago, I think it was in the 90s, the band the Black Crowes, they broke up for a while and they had a fist fight. And it came out that the reason for the fist fight was that Chris lost a CD from a Rich's Fairport Convention box set. And my first thought was I would have kicked his ass too. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Don't fuck with that,
Yeah, perfectly reasonable.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I had been unfamiliar with Shoot Out the Lights until he brought it to my attention.
Yeah.
What a crazy album.
There's a documentary on Richard Thompson where this little old lady comes up to him and asks him, what does he do for a living? He says, I'm a folk musician. And she says, you mean like the mamas and the papas? And he goes, yes, exactly like that. Like you guys don't sound like the mamas and the papas. But he doesn't even trip on it at all. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
So we noticed there's 3 tracks listed on Bandcamp. Are those bonus tracks for those who buy the physical album, or
right? They're not on Spotify.
Not on Spotify.
Not on Spotify. Right.
Well, I can only assume that if they are 3 tracks, then that must be basically there's on the special edition of the CD we always try to do some bonus tracks basically, but we try to write original pieces for them, kind of thing, because we don't like just giving like stuff like a remix or something we try to give something proper, as it were.
Right.
And not that I'm saying that there aren't remixes that are proper or anything, but it's just how we think about it. But yeah, I don't. The reason why it's gatekept or anything like that, I have got absolutely no clue. I'm assuming that's the label's doing, like to keep it to the to that special edition only kind of thing.
Okay.
That's all I can assume, but I'm not quite. Apart from that, I'm literally guessing here because I don't have an answer. But if there are 3 tracks, then yeah, then that will be that bonus. We call them EPs, but effectively it's bonus tracks. But we call it an EP because we like to give them a bit of a title or whatever kind of thing.
The titles were so intriguing. I'm like, we gotta get this like physical copy, like a little man, a hearse, and the whole world window. And my favorite kind of mashup, autophage road mage instead of mage. It's a mage. I'm like, oh, I gotta hear this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dan, you muted.
So I am. I'm glad I was actually, because I fumbled my words completely there. Autophage Road Mage is about a gentleman who's been in an accident in the street, and he's sort of sat there in a daze eating bits of his own head out of his hands.
Oh my.
Nice. Yeah. And The Little Man in a Hearse and The Whole World Widow is a rip-off of Cardiacs. So I have to say Cardiacs at least 3 times. Cardiacs.
Okay.
It's a riff on one of their one of their albums, and a little bit of a tribute.
Cardiac.
So, in listening to Ascension of the Clowns, it's not like, yay, send in the clowns. It sounds like it's a horrible thing and the taking over by just buffoons. Is that kind of how you read that, or what are the themes going on there?
So yeah, Ascension of the Clowns is exactly that. It's intended as we are ruled by and usurped by the most terrible types of people we could ever wish for, and yeah, that's sort of that's my take on our take on how remarkable it is that these people somehow are able to do what they do, and how we seem to allow them to do what they do.
It's mind-boggling,
Yeah,
honestly. The long violin scratch distorted on that one really sets with well, the guitar scratching really sets with the violin floating over, and it creates this emotional tone of sadness and dread. I love it. Are the intros written first, or is it added after to kind of create the mood of the song?
Yeah, I think a lot of the songs do tend to get written sequentially. That's a rule, with certainly with exceptions. But in the case of like Ascension of the Clowns, and many of the songs on this album, it started with that first idea, and then the song grew out of it. So generally, kind of what you're hearing that opens the song is kind of what influenced what happened next, rather than it being some like kind of revision or something cut in front of it. So kind of if things feel like they flow that way, then I think that's probably kind of probably fairly organic in that sense.
What inspired, like, what's the theme around not drinking water?
And there's water in the intro, and the outro.
Not drinking water is about a friend of a few of us who took his own life back in 2001. He used a reservoir as the means of escape, and so it kind of, it's hard to talk about. So he, having done what he'd done, just the idea at the time more than crossed my mind that that's your tap water, and I don't mean this in an unpleasant way. It's kind of, in a way, it's kind of sacred water, and in another way, the thought of him potentially getting into the water supply is quite a, yeah. So we thought it would be a suitably unpleasant title for such unpleasant subject matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I love it. So do you feel like Catherine ever feels outnumbered as the only female member? And did she ever think her violin would be floating over blast beats?
She's I've feeling she probably feels rather outnumbered, but kind of as kind of like she's got six smelly, noisy brothers, I guess, from that point
Okay.
of view. That's kind of how it feels. And yeah, she's been a metalhead since day one. Anyway, when I first met her, when like I was 17 or something like that, we were just sat listening to Morbid Angel at the time or something like that. It was kind of so she just happens to have a violin, and she'd learned when she was younger, and as the years went by and we started playing music, kind of it just all worked quite organically that way.
I used to collaborate with this young lady that played the violin. I always played the guitar. And it was really interesting because she could only read. Like, so if I would say, just fuck around in A, like, she was like, what are you talking about? Like, she didn't know what to do, right? And I used to really irritate her. I'd say, get out your fiddle. She's just like, don't ever call it a fiddle,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think in Catherine's case, she's done enough classical training probably to take offence to that a little bit herself, even if
Yeah,
yeah. But you've very rightly called out like a musical literacy issue there at the same time, which is like we can be quite cruel because some of us can read and write like notation, and others can't. So yeah, kind of
Right.
I know there's been a few times where we've been a little bit cruel and sent notation to people and and let them have to figure it out. That's always quite fun.
Yeah.
So as far as live setup, is it difficult if you're given a small stage to kind of get everyone together, or do you have a setup that kind of works?
Honestly, we were having a talk about this the other day. It can be difficult on a like in a very small club stage or whatever, but we realize we really like smaller stages rather than big. We feel lost on big stages. We can't see each other. We rehearse so much in a comfortably small room, and so we just want a comfortably small stage where we can all feel together um, as a group of friends kind of thing. And we don't like being on bigger stages where we're all separated out because it feels like everybody's a million miles away and we lose the energy and the feeling kind of thing. So yeah, we were literally talking about that like yesterday. But it's like yeah, we just like we actually weirdly prefer the smaller stages. Not so that you're so cramped you can't move your hands, but like just nice level of stage.
Yeah.
We've had one or two occurrences where we literally didn't all fit on the stage. So we've had
Wow.
me in the crowd, which is pretty nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
One particularly memorable one was, I think it was only actually ever happened once, I think, but it was France. And it was a busy venue, and there literally just was not room for us all to comfortably be on stage. So it made my performance sort of maybe I had to be very aggressive, more aggressive than normal with it, which was interesting. But no, I mean, like as the gentleman says, being all together on a small stage is even if we find ourselves on a big stage, we'll still try and get as close together as we can. It's like it's also I think we find it easier if we're able to be a unit rather than have it separate.
We just have
Are
to
there
remember to bring long leads so that we can all huddle
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, I remember I saw a couple years ago we went to this. It was all tribute bands, and there was a Maiden tribute band, and they were the full three guitar, lineup, tiny little stage, and I just thought this doesn't work. I mean, they're all like crammed together. The singer couldn't do the Bruce stuff and all. I was just like, this is
Yes,
that lineup is for an amphitheater or something of that size.
are there any songs that are hard to translate live, or is there always a formula where you could just make it work?
Are there any songs that don't translate, guys?
Yep.
We have them.
Sure.
There are a few. They're like a lot. We realized that we just have to It's actually one of the reasons why part of the reason we worked in this time round was to make it easier because we never play something live before we recorded it. We always write, demo, record, and then learn it to play live. And that's where it all goes wrong, basically. And some songs, it's like, well, we have to make this work, but we realized we wanted that because we don't want to just like as in we don't want to be on stage and it's just like sticking a CD and playing it kind of thing, like hearing it. So it actually works to our advantage and stuff that to rearrange stuff or change stuff. But we also have a running thing where band members have vetoes of songs because it's just like I don't want to have to play that. So and everybody gets a veto and that's absolutely right, and it will change and strategically change between band members and stuff to do that. But we do try. There's plenty of songs that we're quite surprised with that we didn't think we'd be able to work live and have worked magnificently well, and others that we thought would be a doddle and we just can't make it work. So it's just like, but we have enough material now, thank goodness, that we can just leave some stuff out, like, and it's not too much of a worry.
Interesting. Okay. Well, all right, we play a game on the show. I think you guys will like it. It's called Blaspheming Monikers. Okay. And the way it works is I have 5 band names in front of me. One of them is not real. So I want you guys to try to guess which one of these is not a real band. And we'll just keep guessing until either you get it right or we run out of bands.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Necrotic Armageddon, Fist Fucking Armageddon, Phallic Armageddon, Sick Therapy Armageddon, and Armageddon Orchestra. Which one of those sounds fake?
Second to last.
Which one?
I can't remember what the.
Yeah, I'll
second
do them
last.
again. I'll do them again.
Sorry.
Necrotic Armageddon, Fist Fucking Armageddon, Phallic Armageddon, Sick Therapy Armageddon, and Armageddon Orchestra.
Yeah, I'd go with the Sick Therapy one, although it's so ridiculous, it probably is true. But
If there isn't a band called Phallic Armageddon, I'm starting one.
Sick Therapy Armageddon's real. They're actually thrash from Italy. They have 2 demos and 1 full length. Yeah. So, all right. So that leaves Necrotic, Fist Fucking, Phallic, and Armageddon Orchestra, which would be your next guess.
Fist fucking, I reckon. So, which is a sentence I don't often say. But
No, that's real.
That's my guess.
Black metal from France, 3 demos and 1 full length. Yeah.
John, it's up to you. Kettleman, it's up to you.
Oh dear.
All right, one more guess. Anybody got a guess?
Armageddon Orchestra.
No, they're real. They're doomed from Germany. The one I made up was actually Phallic Armageddon. That one's not real.
Dan, you're starting a band.
There it is. I could see it on a patch. You know. Like,
Yeah, I reckon that's a missed opportunity. That one.
No, it wasn't. We failed completely.
Well, everybody does.
So, what's a typical crowd response to your live shows? Do you get a little moshing, a little dancing, a little bit of everything?
Confused expressions.
Yeah, I'll probably start before we answer this properly, but by saying kind of one of the best crowd expressions we ever had was at a hometown gig in Leeds about kind of 7 or 8 years ago, and like we were stood on stage like kind of this kind of rapturous crowd who were chanting. They weren't chanting our name, but like they were either chanting Yorkshire, 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 or your shit, your shit, your shit, and we literally couldn't tell which one it was, and that was
that's great.
Yeah, kind of that's a very very fond, but a fond memory. I kind of really want it to be the latter, given just how enthusiastic the chanting was. You know, it was like kind of really meant it. But yeah, in terms of crowd reactions, it's hugely varied. I think we kind of like we're lucky enough to have like people who listen and care. You know, there's like generally when we drop down to quieter, more ambient sections, like kind of like sometimes there's people chinking beer glasses, you know, in the background, but most of the time people are paying attention and people are kind of there with us massively from that point of view. So I think it is generally a kind of you know kind of every crowd's a bit different, right? But I think it's general enthusiasm and kind of, and you know all the kinds of stuff that you want when you're putting yourself on display in public, really, from that point of view.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
If you could put yourself on a bill opening up for any band existing at any time, who would you pick to open for? And you
I
could
think
all
that
have to
would,
answer.
each of us would have a different answer to that one.
That's okay. That's
That's
okay.
okay.
God, I don't know. Well, they have to be still around now.
No, it doesn't matter. It could be someone.
Well, then,
You
can
can
I say
resurrect
typo
people.
negative? The whole band would say typo negative, surely.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd probably say Queen to piss everyone off. Yeah, it's a good one.
Devil doll for me. That would be ridiculous. Setting ourselves up for a fall.
What are some odd? Have you guys been paired with any bands that felt like an odd pairing? You know, where you're like, I don't know, like something completely different, where you didn't know if the crowd was going to be into it. You know.
Well, we've definitely been on a lot of varied bills, but I think, personally speaking, it's usually a good thing. As far as a bit of an eclectic offering is good. I mean, I know we've sometimes been we've played and we've not been what someone's expected or what people have necessarily wanted, but then we've had we've had positive feedback afterwards. Not always, and if we're not getting it, it's usually because they're complaining about me. Like, so that's all right.
Yeah.
Well, and the long instrumental passages, do you like if you're not doing vocals, do you kind of orchestrate? Do you headbang? Do you kind of go off stage left?
I fidget. But I don't, to be honest. I'm when I'm not doing my bits, I'm as much involved in my own little way as far as I'm listening to everything that's going on and feeling it as hopefully as much as everybody else. And it's kind of like it's I'll try and just try and fade into the background, but I'm still there. Don't tend to. I might have a kneel down or a sit down somewhere if there's a drum riser, but that's only because I'm an old bastard and my back's not great.
Sorry, just to add to that as well, I just have to say that obviously I don't know what this is like because I'm always behind you on the thing, but I have heard many people say that you are literally stood there staring down the entire audience like and freaking them out, which I really love. You have an
Yeah, that does
extremely
that
intense
does happen. It's kind of part of it. That leads to a little anecdote that's definitely worth mentioning.
Okay.
We played one particular gig at a theatre in Bradford, which was quite again in Yorkshire, which was a lovely venue. And at the end of that, I'd gone out for a cigarette, and a giant of a man came out and stood beside me, and he looked at me askance, and he said, "Do you mind if I speak to you?" It's like, "Yeah, of course you can." But he was like this. It's like, "Oh, you're not like you are when you're on the stage." It's like, well, that's how it needs to be. But I was surprised by that. There was another one in Glasgow where another giant of a man came up to me and told me just how shit I was, and how the rest of the band were fantastic, but I was ruining it for everybody. But he was lovely about it in a weird way. And his wife was tiny, and she's just going, "Don't listen to him; he's a knobhead." We get all sorts. We get all sorts. But yeah, it's like once we're on stage, aren't we? That's what we're doing. So it's kind of there's definitely a mental headspace that I and we have to get into. And I think once I'm in that headspace, until the last word is out of my mouth, I'm gonna have to sort of. I've got that. It's almost like a crutch almost of just abject aggression. Just like come on then, let's have it. It's sort of how it has to be.
I mean, next time someone comes up to you, you just ought to go off and just start shouting lines of Macbeth at them and see what their reaction.
So I'll often shout at myself on stage if I make mistakes. That's part of it. Just slapping myself around the head and whatever. But again, it's all part of the thing.
Yeah.
You don't have any music videos yet. If you could feature a track, would it be kind of a period piece, in a gothy haunting castle, a band performance, or something else?
Don't know. For the latest one, we had effectively we had three lyric videos, which an awesome guy called Lucas did. And but they're basically taking Curse's art that he did and then animating it. And that I think we love animation. We don't. Every band does. Sorry, not every band. Lots of bands do the thing of film the band playing because it's easy to do and cheap to do and all this kind of stuff and completely understandable. But it's something that we've always wanted to avoid doing. We did the first video we ever did, the Raven's Eye View one, was that was all us like dressing up and acting and stuff like I say acting in huge quote marks. And that was just tremendous fun. So we did talk about like at some point we'd like to do a thing where we all dress up in something or other and then do an acting thing, but we just never got round to it. So but yeah, I would argue that animation is the best thing. It's something that will complement and work with the music, like and has been planned to be, rather than just sticking something on top of the music.
Well, is there any chance or plans eventually getting over here to the States? We'd love to see you. We're about to hit Maryland Deathfest
That's
this
right.
weekend.
This
This weekend coming up.
Yeah.
I don't know. We never say never. It's unfortunately it's difficult to get us over there, unfortunately, because it would cost an absolute enormous fortune
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah.
That's the main barrier, really. Because we'd love to play everywhere we could, really. But and so never say never, as in like we definitely would love to, but we don't have any plans at the moment, unfortunately, to do that.
Yeah.
Which is a great shame. But yeah, but it's really, honestly, being completely honest about it, it really is a financial thing more than anything, as in like it would cost an enormous fortune to get us over there, really, with all visas and various other things
Yeah.
and flights and stuff. Like for 7 people, it's a
Yeah.
lot.
You guys would rival Hawkwind's full entourage, I think, you know?
Do you have instruments for travel as opposed to the ones that you leave in the studio, or are you worried they will get lost on an airplane somewhere?
We tend to kind of just have main instruments that we use. When we fly, I always try and make sure I've got my guitar actually on the airplane with me, rather than rather than it going into the hold. From that point of view, that's fairly terrifying from that point of view. I'm sure the second we kind of end up with like a guitar snapped in half, that'll change very quickly. But it's we've not had any problems yet. But like it's one of the things where kind of I've personally I feel quite connected to my to the specific guitar I'm using, so I always want to use it no matter what. So you kind of something's got to go badly wrong for that not to be the case.
Right. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for this album. He actually, we alternate who does reviews of what, and he reviewed this one, and he has reviewed music for years, and he kept coming out and going, I need like another day with it. We loved it, but it was like he really wanted to get his head around.
And and I'm into everything from Dot Guard to William Shatner to the Shag. So I mean, I have pretty diverse palette, but it was a lot to digest. So you guys were able to stump the professor big time.
But
so congratulations. That's a good thing.
Thank you very much.
The sounds of decay!
People.
But I think it cost me upwards of $7.
Okay, Sounds of Decay 1 is a new album from Mansvara, Sable, Odes to Nihility. It's not hard to fathom this kind of bleak, immersive music emerging from Poland, given the nation's history alone. This is a country that was literally erased from the map in the late 1700s, ceasing to exist for 123 years after the partitions. Then came the horrors of World War II, where Poland became the site of history's most infamous concentration camps, nightmarescapes like Auschwitz-Birkenau and Treblinka. Add decades of Soviet oppression and the cruel punchline of the Iron Curtain dangling the illusion of a free Poland, and you do not exactly get a national history overflowing with sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Like I said, imagine those people that were in the concentration camps in Dachau, and the Nazis were defeated, and they were so excited after all that torture and starvation. And then here comes the Russians, and they're thinking, "We're saved." It's about to get worse. Coming, of course, from the label that seemingly only releases killers, Gods of War Productions, Mansvara deliver a debut with 8 tracks, 0 filler. The songs stay lean in the 3 to 5 minute range, but within that framework, the Krakow 5-piece seamlessly shifts between modern black metal and an acidic post-death metal attack, drenched in dissonance and suffocating atmosphere.
What elevates Sable Odes to Nihility beyond mere sonic devastation is the poetic and creative use of language. Even the album title deserves unpacking. Sable invokes pitch black darkness and mourning. Odes are celebratory lyrical poems. Nihility points towards nothing in itself. Put together, the title essentially translates into lush black hymns celebrating nothing. Ha! And Jerry Seinfeld thought that he was clever with a sitcom about nothing. A standout track must include Dissident Elegance. Once again, Mansvara paints a vivid picture with creative oxymoron, pairing clashing instability with refinement and style, not unlike our brunch day drinking phrase, eloquently wasted. The track opens with the picked guitar work of Nail, Jan Rogovsky, sounding like an old wind-up ballerina inside a jewelry box that still spins out of tune from the wear of aging gears. That fragile melody is soon swallowed whole as the full weight of the band crushes inward, yet the line stubbornly continues beneath the chaos.
The riffs of Nerva, Filip Konopka. I put our names, Yortuk and Horg Festrong, on cards for the computer. I told them that we have many swinging hobbies, like meeting girls and being next to their big American breasts. Sorry, I don't know where that came from. Anyway, they grind like a rusted rotary saw, emitting a high, tinny shriek sharp enough to cause physical pain. Meanwhile, the drums of Modus, Kots per Yorka, lurch from trudging doom-laden march that descend like 1,000 archers releasing arrows at once, a relentless barrage of catastrophic force. The vocals of Otter, Wukash Chaipaiwa, arrive as pure, abraded vilification, screeching and spraying caustic venom with every ragged ball.
Beneath it all, the bass of Carnage, Dobrish Venowski, drips thick low-end notes like oil leaking from a carburetor. By midpoint, tremolo lines introduce an unnerving frisson, while tinny drum assault hammers forward. The vocals layer a subterranean growl beneath the scathing squawk above. Eventually, the percussion slows into a doom roll thunder, while a nasally guitar line rings out a wandering melody as haunting as wind chimes swaying in a languid breeze. Then the original picked guitar theme returns alone as the vocals croak onward like a toad protesting a dried-up puddle. One final outraged yowl erupts over the full collapsing din before the entire track fades into blackness. A personal standout is Consigned Grief, a track that once again showcases Mansvara's gift for strange and evocative word pairings that birth entirely new emotional concepts. The title alone suggests a reality where anger and sorrow are not merely experienced but surrendered, handed over to someone else's custody to do with as they please. Not your average consignment shop fodder. The track begins with guitar notes that fall like rainwater tumbling into a growing puddle, while thuddy kick drum rolls underneath like insistent thunder. When the riffs finally crash in, they arrive weighty and gloriously party-sized bag of potato chips crunchy, with the bass adding a throbbing wah-wah pulse to the proceedings.
The winding guitar melody serves to meander and build the setting for nearly a full minute before the vocals emerge, bitter as absinthe with an arsenic chaser. From there, the vocals and guitars lock into a chug-heavy groove. Where the wretched crawl, the bringer of doom, her breath the stench of decay. At this point, the drums surf outward in waves of rolling fills and dramatic kick drum eruptions, cymbals shimmering and hissing. By the midpoint, the guitar work alternates between sketched, wailing melodic phrases that drift like a specter and tightly packed tremolo runs vibrating at hummingbird wing velocity. The drums then retreat momentarily, allowing the opening drip of guitar notes to return, now joined by second ascending line of vibrating tones spiraling upward in hypnotic loops. Then comes the ignition point. An arcing, furious buzz cuts through the atmosphere like a reciprocating saw throwing dust, while the kick drums launch into fiery blast beats. The vocals rise to meet the percussion's violent surge, matching its intensity as the liquid falling guitar motif continues underneath, pulling the entire composition towards a lowering, chaotic climax. Let's play a clip. This is Consigned Grief.
My favorite track is Obsidenize, with immediate bonus points awarded for turning dark, brittle volcanic glass into a verb. Honestly, this deserves adoption into everyday vocabulary. The new job pressure and lack of work-life balance caused Mike's brain to start obsidenizing. It should at least make an appearance on the HR report. The track itself erupts with crunch-tastic, doomy riffs that hang in the air like smoke-heavy storm clouds before a quick kick drum stutter rockets the song headfirst into non-stop blast beat splatter. The guitar melody winds through the chaos in whining, wavering note cycles that feel intentionally unstable, although the riffs are trying to wobble off the rails. In the meantime, the drum assault briefly breaks for rolling fills and tumbling flourishes before resuming its relentless torrent. Near the track's end, the guitars fade into eerie violin-like tremors, hovering above the drum's incessant stumble, rumble, bumble. The vocals stack together like a hive mind, Legion delivering some unholy invocation, probably awakening something not so friendly in your neighborhood. Bloody altars, sacrificial piles. As the finale approaches, the guitars find slightly steadier footing, abandoning the wavering melodic drift for shorter, angrier bursts that bleed outward.
In the end, Mansvara feels deeply connected to the long and often brutal history of Poland itself, a country that has spent centuries being invaded, erased, occupied, rebuilt, and generally bullied. That sense of endurance and inherited darkness saturates this album from beginning to end. The band twists language into entirely new forms, creating ideas as jagged and fascinating as the music beneath them. Don't let them obscenize you like that, Pam. The album artwork itself serves as the perfect visual counterpart in the music. A corpse draped in flowers beside a serpent, beauty and decay tangled together in the same frame. That is exactly how these songs operate. They're dark, dissonant, hypnotic, ugly, and strangely beautiful, all at once, constantly balancing brutality with barometrically unsteady moods. Like that famous show about nothing that somehow changed television forever, Mansvara proves that music about nothing is hugely relatable.
Fans of black and death metal should prepare accordingly. This is not background music for folding laundry unless your laundry room is in a dark dungeon. Mansvara delivers a ride through oppressive climates, emotional collapse, violent catharsis, and moments of eerie tenderness that linger long after the final note. Let's play a clip. This is Obsidenize.
Okay, Sounds of Decay 2 is a new album from Goetia, Mortuary Cult. Okay, so you've probably heard this one before, but what's the difference between an organized religion and a cult? Tax exemption. I know that one sounds like I stole it from Fozzie Bear, but still, I've watched like every documentary there is on cults, from Manson to Latter-day Saints to Leah Remini and the Scientology stuff, and I have got some questions. So when you all get together and decide that the liver-spotted 94-year-old is the one true Messiah, doesn't anybody suggest a backup plan for when he takes a terminal tumble down to the wine cellar? Apparently being proactive doesn't offer a lot of benefit to cult leaders. Also, I would check with a bona fide astronomer before I decided to knit 200 sweaters for my place on the spaceship hiding behind the comet. Just saying. Also, I remember Flavor Aid was still available in every grocery store back in the 80s. My folks served it to us regularly. I guess some companies are just ironclad from a stockholder investment standpoint. I don't know.
Goetia, named for the European sorcery derived from reading grimoires, are a death metal three-piece from Washington, D.C. that have been pounding out their own brand of noise for several years now in the form of 3 cassette EPs and are now ready for prime time with their debut full-length, Mortuary Cult, consisting of 10 songs, mostly in the 3 to 4 minute range. All are packed with the super witchy rasp of bassist singer Matt Scott, the deaf blasting of drummer Nadia Tidings Lynch, and the buzzsaw guitar tones of Demi Sawyer, and it becomes courtesy of the California-based label Carbonized Records that brought us winning releases from bands like Hedonist and Eternal. The album flies by quickly, every track wicked heavy and cemetery ready. Sawyer proves to be a real talent, packing these tracks with lyrical hooky solos inserted in just the right places. Corpse Candle crawls out of the gates on a very South of Heaven adjacent riff, advancing to a crushing mid-tempo. The slow speed doesn't hinder Nadia from showing off all manner of pittering, pattering deafness. Around the track's midpoint, the gas pedal is effectively engaged, and soon guitar, drums, and vocals are all hell-raising a glorious racket like old school ghouls.
Tortures in Time also doesn't charge out of the gate as much as it employs an evil sort of stroll, again fortified by some very Slayer-adjacent dissonance from Sawyer. Percussively, this one may include Nadia's finest moments on the disc. The track takes on a fierce gallop around the midpoint that alternates with occasional blasts just in time for Sawyer to uncork another downright majestic solo. Let's hear a little Corpse Candle. The title track cycles through a couple bars of strength-gathering mid-pace before taking off in pure thrash mayhem for the first verse, which Scott delivers with slit-throat hissing charm. But the real thing that sets this track apart is the surprising use of harmonized guitar by Sawyer in an uber-hooky lead intro that shouldn't work this well, but absolutely does, as the track once again sidesteps into blasting lunacy to close things out.
So there you have it, a quality debut from a moniker just down the road from Snaggletooth headquarters. This one drops June 12th, so get over to their Bandcamp page and get your pre-order in for one of those sexy red vinyl copies before they're gone. And in the meantime, stay away from cults. Best to go with your grandmother to worship in a tax-exempt environment with a blood-soaked dude nailed to a cross on the altar. Bring the kids. Let's play a clip. This is Mortuary Cult.
Okay, Sounds of Decay 3 is the new album from Mortuary, Great Black Earth EP. It's always exciting to showcase a band from a unique part of the world. In this case, Monterrey, Mexico. This was a town I used to visit regularly as my company had a manufacturing plant down there years ago. The food was amazing and these folks knew how to have a good time. Every party seemed to end with people singing karaoke songs that all sounded like the chicken dance to me. Someone would explain, this song is about a man who falls in love with an exotic dancer, Gabriella, but then he gets attacked by some bandits, and an angel Leticina appears and not only saves him, but leaves a stack of dollar bills for Gabriella's garter. It's so damn beautiful. Another memory I have of that place, I thought I was slick drinking Dos Equis beer because of those American ads of the most interesting man in the world, right? Apparently, they don't have those ads down there because one night a bunch of us were out, and one of the Mexican dudes said to me, "Mark, do you drink the girly beers when you're home too?" Apparently, in that part of the world, drinking Dos Equis is like drinking sparkling rum punch out of a glass slipper. So I switched to Modelo.
The latest import to the illustrious horror gore pain death label, the Monterey four-piece known as Mortuary, have been playing Satan's good music for 4 decades and forming back in the late 1980s. This brief 4-track EP packs plenty of ticking double bass workouts, stutter-stepping thrash riffs, and whammy-bar dive bombs in its scant 18-minute runtime. Vocalist Coke Deadman croaks, gurgles, and wolfs like a true scene vet, while the guitarist Alberto Martinez and Juan Ramos conjure demented leads that range from majestic to the atonal to the shred-tastic and more. Holy War kicks off with a very Hell Awaits adjacent intro, like we've opened a portal into hell itself before finally uncorking the first riff-snapping riff accompanied by drummer Mondo Opus's colorful rolls and fills. This is one of those dark, old-school thrash songs that could have been recorded in 1989 or 2025, and even the connoisseurs wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Let's play a clip. This is Holy War. Cut Their Heads explores something of a doomy pace, complete with church gongs and the usual drumming busyness from Opuses, which provides a marvelous foil for Deadman's dread-inducing vocal style. The track eventually surges forward, alternating thrash speed with pulverizing blasts, setting up another berserk display of speed soloing from Ramos and Martinez. For its 4+ minute duration, the track yo-yos between doomy lurch and breakneck speed, wounded noodles popping up here and there to marvelous effect.
I will love wounded noodles. They're delicious. Great to see a long-running institution like Mortuary still kicking ass and delivering the goods. Get over to HGPD Bandcamp page and grab this cool EP and a Mortuary shirt to show off your unquestionable OG-ness. It's the perfect soundtrack for when the spirit of Beyonce appears in a dream and offers to buy you a popcorn maker. Let's hear Black Superstition. Made it through another one. 41 episodes. Wow. And a very comprehensive MDF review, if I do say so myself.
It was a short week because we had to do the show on Monday and then we had a show Tuesday night. So
Yeah, exactly.
we arrived bleary-eyed, but at the finish line.
And we're very multi-global this week.
Yeah.
We have Mexico, we have Denmark, we have Poland, we have
Washington,
Russia,
D.C.
we have Washington D.C. So many different cultures. Yes, we're a melting pot here at Snaggletooth, are we not?
The anthems. Who knew there was much more goofiness about anthems
Yeah, there
that
is.
we uncovered. We
Oh
might
my
have to
God.
do a part 2 on that one.
Yeah, it was a lot of craziness, like the Dutch one. That was crazy. So this has been the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast. Special thanks to the gang from A Forest of Stars for appearing on the show. Snaggletooth theme by Gustav Jord of Defleshed. Sounds of Decay theme by Steve Rathbone of Lair of the Minotaur. Sounds of Decay bands featured this week: Mortuary, Mansvara, Goetia. All content 2026, the Snaggletooth Decay Extreme Music Podcast.
The American anthem, but I got really drunk and I don't remember. Is it a bunch of bombs in the air? It's not in this book. Is it? I think I drank all my beer.
Fuck. God damn it.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.